Welcome to Up to the Minute. I'm Todd Duplantis. It is great to have you with us. Welcome back to a Monday, June the 1st. We've got your HCC news and information for the next half hour or so. Want to welcome Brittany Pacheco. Brittany, welcome to June. We're now in the next level of Jumanji. It's hurricane season. Got to love that meme.
Dang it, Todd. You took my joke.
Gotcha.
That was good, though. Yes, we're in the next level of Jumanji. Who knows what this month is going to entail for us? It's going to be an interesting month. But yes, it's the beginning of hurricane season. So just a disclaimer for everyone, be sure to look up how to be prepared for hurricanes, see what supplies you need. But we also want to welcome you to Up to the Minute. So be sure to like us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And don't forget to head over to our YouTube channel where you can subscribe, hit that notification bell, and you can be the first to find out the latest from HCC.
Make sure you follow us in all of our social media. More on that later on, but make sure, as Brittany mentioned, subscribe. And if you're watching us on YouTube. Now, we've got some special guests on the show. Very packed show today for the next half hour or so. Jim Jackson joins us from the IT department. He's the Director of Network and Security Operations. Welcome to the show, Jim.
Good morning. Thank you, Todd.
Well, thank you for being here. We're going to have more from you in a moment. We got some great questions to ask you coming up. But we want to start with HCC Coleman College. Teodoro Teddy Tovar Jr. joining us now. He's the Program Director of Respiratory Therapy. Thanks for being here, Teddy.
Thank you, Todd. Great to be here and pleasure to be invited. Thank you.
We appreciate you taking the time and joining us. And I want to ask you about the respiratory therapy program. It sounds self-explanatory, but tell us what it is, what the professions are, and what it leads to.
Well, Todd, we are one of the frontliners in the hospital business, if you will, in the industry. We're up there with physicians and nurses and other allied healthcare professionals. For Coleman College, the respiratory therapy program, we teach our students all the way from neonatal or premature babies, all the way to geriatric care regarding pulmonary care, dealing with asthma, pneumonia, and other type of cardiopulmonary diseases.
And I could only think now in this time of COVID crisis over the past several months, your profession has really been highlighted because I would imagine your graduates and workers in this type of therapy are on the front lines with patients who are having problems breathing because of COVID.
That is correct, Todd. We are, like I mentioned earlier, we are frontliners, just as you mentioned as well. We are in the front line. If you recall in the news, and if the public recalls, the president and other professional agencies and physicians were concerned with a shortage of ventilators.
Right.
Well, we are the guys that run the ventilators, and so that's the critical, an additional critical role that we play within the hospital setting. Not only understanding the pulmonary disease and trying to figure out with physicians, the team, to develop a therapy and develop how to treat the disease, but with COVID-19, this being a new virus. We're seeing a lot of different things, and what we're mainly concerned here is that not only are we seeing a multitude of things in the beginning as the onset of the disease, but also our concern is what's going to happen afterwards. How are the lungs going to react once they've healed?
Well, that's something you're hearing a lot about in the news are the concerns of the after effects as people are recovering, what type of long-term effects they may have for being on a ventilator for a long time, but also the recovery of their lungs. And I guess that is a concern for your community.
It is a concern for us for therapists. Again, within our 2-year program, we also teach pulmonary rehab. So this is another critical area for respiratory therapists. And that we're going to play another critical role, not only in the initial phase of COVID-19, but even afterwards, because again, with pulmonary rehab, we're going to play a critical role in trying to teach these patients how to take care of themselves in the after effect.
Teddy, tell us about the program itself. Do you offer certifications, 2-year degrees, and can people or graduates from your program continue on to 4-year degrees?
Yes, we are a very fortunate program. We are very well deep rooted in the Texas Medical Center. As a matter of fact, Todd, we're the only respiratory program in college that is embedded in the heart of the Texas Medical Center. What that means to us is that our program, it's a 2-year program. Upon completion, you get a 2-year degree, an associate's degree in respiratory, which allows a student to bridge over, if you will, transition into a 4-year degree, into a bachelor's and a master's and even doctoral areas.
You know, it is amazing. I think people take it for granted that we are in the middle of the Texas Medical Center, and not many schools can say that for outstanding programs. Do your graduates get a chance to work at other institutions in the medical center for hospitals and such as?
Oh yes, Todd. Within the 2 years that the students are with us, matriculating through the program, the student is able to do their clinical or hands-on training on real life patients, along with lab training. And so our students are able to go to Texas Children's Hospital. They're able to go to Memorial Hermann Systems hospitals, not only within the Texas Medical Center, but the outlying hospitals, for example, the South Campus of Texas Children's in Katy, or the Methodist Hospital in Sugar Land. So we're very deep-rooted. We have a great relationship with our hospital partners, and they allow us to come and train our students in their facilities, which allows our students to be trained with the utmost technology, so that when the student goes to work, they're not surprised by any new type of technology. What we teach is what the student's going to see once they graduate.
Well, my next question was going to be, how are you dealing with the COVID situation? Because we're in a remote instruction phase of HCC with teaching online. And one of the biggest questions we got when we first went fully online was students specifically from Coleman wondering, how can they do their clinicals? How will that work? How can you update us on that, on how students are able to make that up, or how that will be working for them?
Sure thing. We're very fortunate, again, that we work very closely with our community partners, and that includes the people we get our books from, our vendors. And so they've also provided us with a lot of online simulation type teachings. So that was able to supplement the missing of the clinicals. Now, again, you're correct. We weren't able to go to the hospitals, but the hospitals asked us not to come in, again, to protect our students, because again, our students are priority number one for safety, okay? And so we communicated with our hospital partners, and we agreed that our students should not be in just as protection. We don't want our students to end up getting infected with COVID-19 and then taking it home to their family members. So we did our best to not allow our students to go back into the hospital setting, but now that we're seeing that testing has revved up, we're seeing less cases. Hospitals are not as impacted anymore. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's still patients with COVID-19, but they're not as impacted as much in the hospital setting. So I believe that here towards the end of the summer, our students will be going back to the hospital setting for hands-on training.
And where would respiratory therapists work besides, you mentioned hospital settings. That seems like one of the most opportune places. But where are the other places your graduates may wind up working?
Well, like I said, we also train our students to work in the different areas, such as not only hospital settings, but within the different areas within the hospital, whether it be in the critical care area, in the ICUs, neonatology, home care. We also allow them to teach them to work within specialty areas such as transport. For example, Texas Children's Hospital has the kangaroo care transport team. Now those guys, they transport our patients via ambulance, what we call ground, air, which would be helicopter, or fixed wing, which is jets. And if you're on the jet team, then you're able to travel cross country or across continents, bringing patients in and back and forth.
Now, I know with Coleman, you have a lot of deadlines for students to apply. If someone is thinking of getting enrolled in this program in the fall, would they still be able to do so? And where would they go to apply, and what are the deadlines they need to meet?
Well, first of all, they would have to go to our home webpage, www.hccs.edu, and go ahead and click on the programs link. From there, they would go to health sciences. And then they would list under that page of health sciences, they would see all 22 programs that are offered at Coleman College. Now, and specifically for respiratory therapy, our application deadline, we just extended it to try to help students with, having to deal with COVID-19 and things that they can't get. So we were able to go ahead and extend our deadline into July 15th for our application deadline. Within the Respiratory Therapy Program webpage, you'll find what we call our admissions guide. And from there, the student can see what the prerequisite courses are required, along with HCC testing and immunizations that are required for admission into the program.
Teddy, we thank you for joining us this morning and updating us on the Respiratory Therapy Program. Certainly a program for students who want to have those essential jobs and a meaningful job, one that's certainly needed now and in the future, certainly would be a great opportunity for people to get involved with. Thank you for joining us here, Teddy.
Well, thank you, Todd, and I appreciate the time that you gave to us, and we're very proud of our program with 100% pass rate and job placement. So we look forward, and we look forward to our students reaching out to us. Thank you for having me on the show.
Absolutely. We're proud of you guys as well. Another department we're very proud of here at HCC, if you look behind the scenes, there were so many people that were instrumental in getting things up and running when we made the decision to go online within a couple of weeks. Really, we went away for spring break, and next thing you know, we're working in a virtual world. And the men and women behind that, we're in our IT department, and Jim Jackson is joining us now. Boy, Jim, you guys have been busy over the last 3 months, have you not?
Yes, we have, but a lot of this kind of extended even before that, we had a lot of the infrastructure in place prior to COVID-19. We had the ability for people to VPN in. We had implemented WebEx within the last couple of years. We had implemented Microsoft Teams. We had integrated WebEx with Canvas so that online classes could be done. So a lot of those tools that we're using through COVID-19 were already in place. The usage of it was not at the level it is now. For example, prior to COVID-19, we had about 330 WebEx or online meetings a month. That's either WebEx or Microsoft Teams. Post-COVID-19, we're having 20,000 a month.
20,000 meetings.
We've ramped up a little bit during COVID-19.
Well, that was going to be where I was going to go with this, and you kind of talked me through it so far. But when did you guys think, did you know in going away for spring break, obviously we all knew there was a chance we may not be returning right away or it could be delayed. But did you think we were going to ramp up this quickly so fast?
We thought that we would not be coming back from spring break, and so some of the things we did before that was we enabled all workers to have VPN access. Prior to that, it was all salaried workers had it, and hourly workers, you had to complete a form to get that access. We enabled everybody to have that access. We started working on what do we do with the like main phone numbers, the call centers we have, the main department numbers, the library numbers that people call. How do we handle those? And so we started setting up the ability for those calls to be answered remotely almost right away.
Right. I know you guys had helped me out because I was having some connection problems, and I was talking with our engineer, and I said, I really need a mobile hotspot. And he said, get a hold of the guys at IT, and we'll see if they can help you out. And you guys had one delivered to me really within a matter of days. I imagine this was a case with a lot of folks where they didn't have the right connectivity or they needed a laptop. What did that look like for your department?
Well, that's a good example. On the hotspots in particular, we ordered 50 prior to going on spring break and deployed those relatively quickly, and then found out that we couldn't get any more because the demand was there. So we've been able to subsequently get, I think we got another 25, and now we've got another 50 and have deployed those. But the IT team has pulled in a lot of the laptops that were in labs and other parts, just general purpose ones, and have redeployed those to users who didn't have the proper facilities at home to do remote work. And so we've deployed about 860 laptops to home users, and it's a similar process to how you got your hotspot. Once it was configured, they were FedExed out for next day delivery.
And it was a very efficient and quick delivery process. I've got to give you kudos on that. I know you guys, it was a monumental task to get all those laptops and hotspots out to everyone. And I don't think people realize how much work goes on behind the scenes to get our board meetings online, not just when we're in the building, but now in a virtual world. What's that look like for you guys?
Well, we some of the board members also have hotspots that they're using from home. But we typically do testing with them. So this afternoon, we'll do testing for this Wednesday's board meeting. We'll test with every single board member to make sure they can get online, that their connection's good, that they have access to do the voting and see all the materials and so forth. And it's, and then we sit on the line and monitor for the entire meeting. And because of COVID-19, and because of the budget coming up, these meetings have, Wednesday's meeting is going to start at 10 and probably won't end until 8 or 9 o'clock at night. And so we're online the whole time, monitoring it and, making sure things are going well throughout the whole meeting.
How was it working with the faculty? And we talked about the staff and getting everybody up to speed, but how was it with working with the faculty? And I know a number of faculty members stepped forward to hold meeting rooms for faculty to get them trained on Canvas and get them ready for online delivery of instruction. How was it with that experience?
That was another one of those areas where we had the infrastructure in place. I think it was within the last 6 months that we had integrated WebEx with Canvas. And so that was one of the major tools we used to provide the online classes for the students. And the faculty really did step up and learn the tools and then had training so that while we were on our extended spring break, all the faculty got trained and were ready to roll come the end of spring break.
And I know another big thing you guys are involved with is not only do we have to be online and we're delivering education online, we're all communicating with each other online, but you guys have to have this security system locked down and secure. How big of a task is that to monitor that whole situation?
It's always a cat and mouse game. As soon as we put in things to prevent people from trying to break in or trick our employees by doing phishing attacks, the bad guys come up with another attempt to do this. And of course, COVID-19 has brought about a whole new round of ways to bring in the security vulnerability. So it's been a challenge, and it's a never-ending battle, basically.
Talk about some of the business partners you guys worked with to make sure we were able to get ready and do this online. They must have been instrumental to assist you in getting all, not just from the software to the hardware that you needed as well.
Well, like I said, a lot of the software and hardware was in place. It was just a matter of ramping up. One of the interesting things is, everybody's using their broadband to connect into our network. We're all doing it right now. That infrastructure, I'm sure, has seen a tremendous increase in usage. And yet, for the most part, it's done a good job of maintaining it, because when you think of it, this meeting we're doing right now, we're doing it online. The classes that we were doing in person, we're doing online. When you're done with class, you can't do anything else. So you're going to stream movies online, or you're going to play online games. And so everything about COVID-19 is really increasing online usage. And for the most part, we have not seen issues.
Do you see us, obviously we went through this pandemic converting online, and we're working in a different world, but sooner or later, in some shape or form, we're going to be back in the buildings. We don't know really what that's going to look like, but do you see us incorporating a lot more of this virtual working online into our daily routine as we head back to a new normal?
Oh, I definitely think so. There were a lot of efforts done for the business processes. For instance, our processes in the past relied on people being in the building, and maybe you're signing a form and passing on to the next team. And so our PeopleSoft team and our Perfect Forms team has worked really hard to make those online processes with automatic approval and automatic workflow. And so I think those type of things will continue in the future. We may also, it's also possible that they may look at some type of, work at home one day a week or something like that. I think some companies have found that the number of sick days has gone down with work at home. The productivity has increased. And so they're kind of looking at, why am I paying for a building when it makes people less productive? So I think there's a lot of things. A lot of the business process changes we've made will probably continue post-COVID-19.
Well, I know a lot of folks are cheering what you said there because, we do feel like in a lot of ways we're working more efficiently. In many cases, we're working longer hours because you're always plugged in when somebody's trying to get a hold of you now. But that seems to be okay. But do you see, as we're moving forward, do you see us besides learning something we're doing online, do you see us heading in a new direction with online instruction? Do you see more of that taking shape with the whole college look?
I think that's a big possibility. I think there's some classes, like we were discussing earlier with Coleman College, where you have labs, that we have HVAC classes and electrical classes where you really need to be there to do the hands-on labs. But there are a lot of classes that you could do online, and what it really comes down to is what the student is comfortable with. Some students have done very well with the online classes. We gave all the students the opportunity to do pass-fail for the online classes, just in case it wasn't something that that was a method that worked well for them. But it's turned out that it's done pretty well. So I could see our online college becoming a much bigger part after this, because people who have never thought of doing it before have now done it and say, that wasn't that bad, and
right.
My commute is much better.
Are you somewhat surprised at how well things have gone so far, Jim, or did you kind of expect that, being that you guys had these processes in place?
I think we were. I think we had always hoped that things would go well, but you're right. We did have all the pieces in place. We didn't have to run out and scramble and add something new and try to get something implemented at the last minute. We were pretty much ready April 1st for online classes, for remote work. We have the capacity at 3100 Main in our network connections, and everything was all the pieces were in place. We didn't have to add, WebEx or Microsoft Teams. We had already had those. And then Cisco Jabber is where you can, it extends your telephone to your home. You can have it on your computer, or you can have it on your cell phone. And therefore, when your office at work rings, it rings at home. Well, we've expanded that at home, but those things were already in place. And I think with Cisco Jabber, we've added something like over 1,100 people to that, because there were people in the past that didn't have assigned phone numbers and so forth, and a lot of the faculty and the adjunct faculty, and so we've added all that over the last couple of years. That's probably been a big thing that we've done after the fact, but the infrastructure was in place.
Jim Jackson, Director of Network and Security Operations for HCC. We appreciate you taking the time being here, and we certainly appreciate everything you guys do, and not only for IT, but helping us here at HCCTV, because we work hand in hand with you guys so that we can deliver what we're doing on a daily basis, and for that, we're very grateful.
Well, thank you, Todd. It was a pleasure being on, and I'd just like to say it was a team effort across all of IT. Everybody stepped up, and everybody had a role to play, and everybody did a great job.
Well, kudos to your team.
Thanks again.
Thanks, Jim. And we're now joined by Brittany Pacheco, who is at her nerd room at her house. Good morning again, Brittany.
Good morning again, Todd. Yes, I love being in my nerd room.
Do you work more efficiently in the nerd room, or do you have a special little place in the house where you do all your work from?
This is the one designated place in the house where I have my whole setup, my sanctuary when it comes to working. Right now, my husband's desk, you can see, is right behind me. But as a teacher, he actually just wrapped up his year, or he's wrapping up his year today, but he's off-site today at my parents' house. So I have the whole place to myself so I can work a little bit more efficiently.
Do you guys work in the same room at the same time?
Absolutely not.
Well, I get you. I hear it there. Hey, Brittany, we got a couple things I want to go over. One of them is a very popular program here at HCC, the Change Your Life for $20 program through the Adult High School and Career for You. We can't say enough about this because it's such a popular program.
It certainly is, Todd, just for the fact that you can change your life for just $20. It almost seems too good to be true, but listen up, everyone. It isn't. So registration opens in 1 week, which is next Monday, June 8th. You must meet some requirements, but it is worth checking out. So you can head over to hccs.edu/changemylife.
And it really is $20, and that covers your tuition. So you can pay your $20, and there's many programs you can get involved with. But make sure you go to hccs.edu, Change My Life, for all the details. Their registration campaign has a deadline, so you need to go to that page now to make sure you can register. If you want to know more about our classes in the fall and the rest of them during the summer, well, HCC has virtual info sessions. Enrollment Services is offering them on a weekly basis.
That is correct, Todd. This is happening all the way through August. So if you have questions about your admissions application, testing, orientation, financial aid, and actually a lot of these questions came through over the weekend through our DMs. So I encourage everyone who is interested in not only attending HCC, but just has very specific questions that they want to ask, go over and register today for the information sessions. It's really simple, hccs.edu/information sessions.
Millions of Texans, really 1.5 million Texans have applied for unemployment since March. And HCC has a way to get Houstonians retrained and retooled to find a new job in some very promising and in high demand careers. Check out jobsnowhouston.org. It's an initiative we launched about 1.5 weeks ago. There are 5 career paths you can go to that website. And Brittany, the main thing to realize is if you are looking for employment right now, this is one way of doing that. And if you know of somebody who's looking for a job, even if you were wanting a new career path, you haven't had to lose your job to find a new one, go to this website and you can pick out one of the career paths. And from what I understand, there's financial aid and scholarships available as well.
Definitely. And those 5 areas that we're talking about to train in are healthcare, logistics, manufacturing, IT, construction. We just heard from Teddy a little while ago at the top of this show about the importance of healthcare at this time. And so if you're interested in any of these programs, you can just head over to jobsnowhouston.org to see what training you need and how HCC can be there to help.
MBDA has a virtual lunchtime forum. If you remember, Brittany, they were doing subs and sandwiches before we had the lockdown. They can't do that now, but they figured out a new way to meet people online to give them a chance to start looking for or actually helping their business. And it's the Minority Business Development Association that's hosting this.
I think there's a way to still do subs. I mean, granted, the individuals are going to have to either get it delivered to them or go out to go get the subs and have it and munch on it as this webinar is going on. It can still happen. But yes, check out this webinar is happening on the WebEx forum. That is happening next Wednesday, June 10th at 11:30 a.m. We've got information about the meeting number and the password. We'll put that in this post once we've wrapped up this broadcast.
That's right. It's next Wednesday, June 10th at 11:30 a.m. We mentioned it briefly, but registration for the summer and the fall still going on right now. Of course, summer classes are online. Fall will be to be determined, but you'll hear more about that shortly. But one thing to remember, there's one website where they can go register for both sessions.
That is correct. hccs.edu/now. Summer classes are going to begin next Monday, June 8th. That's summer 10 weeks, summer 1 5 weeks, and then summer 1 8 weeks. So be sure to go online, go through your My Eagle account, because that's where you're going to be able to see what classes are available and register before next Monday.
So you know who's going to be on the show tomorrow, Brittany?
You know what? I think it is a former alumni or an alumni of HCC.
Big name for the show tomorrow. We'll have a fashion focus with a COVID-19 angle. We've got former HCC fashion student and nationally known Houston designer Chloe Dow is going to be on the show tomorrow. So make sure you join us. We're going to talk about her former Project Runway appearance. She was the winner a few years back. And how we talked about how she's kind of pivoted her business to not only to make some fashion designer masks in her designer line. From what I understand, they're extremely popular. We'll talk with her about that tomorrow. And also we'll speak with another former HCC student and fashion designer graduate, Nhi Nguyen, will be on the show tomorrow. So we've got a great show lined up for you tomorrow.
That's correct, Todd. And we want to thank everyone again for joining us on Up to the Minute. Be sure once again to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Don't forget to share this podcast so that we can grow our audience and have this great information be shared to the thousands. And once again, head over to our YouTube channel, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and you'll see the latest from HCCTV.
That's right. I want to thank our guest, Teddy Tovar Jr. Thanks for being here. And, of course, Jim Jackson, Director of Network and Security Operations from the IT department. Thanks for being here, Jim.
Thank you, Todd. It was my pleasure.
And we will see you tomorrow, 10 a.m. live right here on Up to the Minute.